I have 2 parakeets and I have 2 dogs. And she's a big dog. She's a German Shepherd and Lab.
When I started calling around to see where Luke would receive services here in West Virginia, I was just so sad to hear nowhere, honestly. Everything was sign language or total communication, and we just felt like we'd come too far. Luke didn't sign at all at that point. He didn't need to, quite honestly. And so my first response was we couldn't move to West Virginia. We're not going to do that to him. Then the more I thought about it, the more I realized, wow, how many people in West Virginia feel the way I feel right now? And more importantly, maybe, how many don't even know enough to know this feeling? How many have babies or small children and they don't know that these kids could learn listening and spoken language if they wanted to? And then we just started about the path to try to make that happen. We started looking for private funding, finally ended up with a grant from the State Board of Ed, and the L opened.
When children are born with hearing loss, their parents have a choice of how they want their child to communicate. It's very important for parents to be educated on what their communication options are for their children. Parents get to choose if they want their child to learn American Sign Language or if they'd like for their child to learn to listen and speak. Just like normal hearing kids learn to speak, deaf and hard of hearing children learn to speak through listening, but using technology, so using cochlear implants or hearing aids.
When she was 3 years old, she started preschool. She went there from the time she was 3 until she was almost 4. She saw a therapist in Huntington, Jody Cottrell, that offered a program for a month in July for Kendall to try. We lived in Big Chimney. We drove to Huntington, and I thought, that's not going to be too bad. A month is not going to be that bad. I can do that. So we started coming down here, and Kendall blossomed. She just blossomed. She learned more in that 1 month than she had at her home school in 2 years. And so I immediately asked Jody, oh, how do I get in this program? She said, just bring her. So I did. I brought her for 2.5 years. And she graduated from here with such a learning scoot, I guess is what you want to call it, or a boot, whatever, that I was so surprised and so impressed. These people do the best job in teaching deaf children how to talk and listen, and there's no other program like it.
You forgot to say players. There we go. What? There you go.
We work with children from infant through early elementary, so typically 7 or 8 years old. Our goal for our kids is to come into our program as soon as they're identified with hearing loss, they're fit with hearing aids, their parents have chosen for them to learn to listen and speak.
We lived in Woodbridge, Virginia. Ella was born deaf, and we were exploring options and learned about the program here at Marshall, the Luke Lee Lab, when she was about 5 months old. We chose Huntington and the Luke Lee program as it was the only opportunity for Ella to learn how to listen and speak like her normal peers, and it's the only place she was going to get exposure to that kind of education. We wanted her to be a normal kid, to have all the options that every other kid would have growing up.
We provide a parent-infant program for children birth to 3 to teach their parents how to work with their children at home. We provide a preschool program for children 3 to 6 years old. We provide auditory verbal therapy, which is center-based, either in Huntington or in South Charleston. There are many more children who would benefit from our services that aren't able to receive our services because of where they live in the state of West Virginia.
For all families that have a child that's deaf or hard of hearing that wants to choose listening and spoken language, they need that access throughout the state. If we could expand the services and expand the program, that would make sense to give equal access in all parts of the state, not just in Huntington.
We would benefit from more funding to be able to provide those services across the state of West Virginia.
I just can't imagine not having the option that we have here. Ever since Kaylin was a few years old, every time we were out in public, whether it be the grocery store or wherever, she would talk to everyone she saw, and she has a lot of curly hair, so you wouldn't always be able to see her implants right away. And so When she would talk to people, I would tell them that she has that she has implants, and that she hasn't always spoken as well as she does now. And they would just be completely blown away because of how well she could talk, even at a couple years old, that it wasn't holding her back. They couldn't even tell.
I feel like everybody should have the opportunity to choose what's best for their child. Not having a program like this available to them, you don't have that option. It's sign language and it's to the School for the Deaf and Blind, or it's an interpreter in the school. Not only does that save the state money, but it's also their way of life. I feel like my children have every opportunity in life. They can go to the bank, they can go to the store, they can go to any church they want, any school they want. They will be successful, go to any college, go and do whatever they want to in life. I couldn't be happier for this choice. It's worked great for our family.
To watch a child who's deaf learn to listen is amazing, and to learn to talk, but also go to kindergarten and communicate just like their hearing peers. It's pretty remarkable. And some of these kids, you wouldn't even know they had hearing loss. I always say the sky is the limit for these kids. They'll be able to do whatever they want.